failing in pursuit of passion, leaving senses far behind. Red flags, red flags, waving high, I close my eyes. Red flags, red flags, truth disguised in pretty lies. Red flags, red flags, can't ignore them anymore. Red flags, they were warnings I ignored. Time to reassess our actions. All that glitters can't be gold. Time to dig a little deeper. Hear the stories left untold. Red flags, red flags, red flags, red flags, red
Hi, and welcome to Jan's Views on Crime. Donna Adelson gets life without parole, finally. I say finally because it's been 10 years since the death of Dan Markel. Here we see Donna Adelson, otherwise known as the matriarch mastermind, who is a 75-year-old grandmother now, and she's now been found guilty on all counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and the solicitation in the shooting death of her ex-son-in-law, Dan Markel.
Degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit first-degree murder. And the court previously adjudicated you guilty as to these same charges on September 4th of this year. On count one of the indictment for first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole or release pursuant to sections 782.04 and 775.082 sub 1 sub a Florida statutes. On count two of the indictment, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, you are hereby sentenced to 30 years in the Department of Corrections that will run consecutive to count one. The court will also sentence you to 30 years in the Department of Corrections on count three. Counts 2 and 3 are to run concurrent with each other, but consecutive to count one.
The Adelson family, led by Donna, were a prominent South Florida family that ran a successful dental practice, and it seems that all the children were successful people. Problems arose between her daughter Wendy and Dan Markel when a judge granted them shared custody of the children they shared. The custody arrangement tethered Wendy to Tallahassee, which was 500 miles north of Donna's South Beach home. Wendy unsuccessfully petitioned to relocate with the children, and it was at this point that Donna enlisted the help of her son, Charlie Adelson, and his associates. Now, Charlie was a very successful dentist in the area, but he did have a bit of a checkered past in that he knew a few unsavoury people. In 2023, a jury convicted Charlie Adelson of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and solicitation to commit murder in the death of Florida State University law professor Dan Markel. Adelson was remanded in custody pending sentencing on December 12th. So I don't think he had a very good Christmas that year. Prosecutors said that Adelson plotted the 2014 murder of Markel so that his sister Wendy could relocate freely with the couple's children. Markel and his ex-wife were embroiled in a contentious custody battle at the time Markel was gunned down in the driveway of his Tallahassee home in 2014. It is said that Adelson's ex-girlfriend had a relationship with somebody who was a bit trigger happy, who was also up for hire, if you see what I mean. And it was that dude, who then brought along a friend as well, who were the actual shooters of Markel, who was shot dead on his driveway in his car. Rivera, one of them, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder when he struck a plea deal in 2016. He was sentenced to 19 years, so he would have got a lot more had he not have spoken up about what actually happened. And we can only be thankful for him for doing that, because otherwise I think the Adelsons would have got away with it indefinitely. It was then seen at the time, I think, that the police were holding things back because they knew that there was a bigger story around this. It wasn't just about Charlie. Well, they didn't know about Charlie until about 8 years after. But they knew that it wasn't just about these, gun for hire killers. The state stipulated that Harvey, or Donna Adelson's attorney, said that the pair planned to assert their Fifth Amendment right to silence during any interviews. I actually think that they thought that they quite literally were going to get away with murder. There are some videos out, and I think I might see if I can clip a bit in here, where she gets caught. They get caught at the airport. They were going to flee to Vietnam. They were going to start a new life in Vietnam. And they were caught right at the last moment before they boarded that plane. And by God, they would have got away with it, guys.
It's the 13th of November 2023, and this woman is about to board a plane to Vietnam on a one-way ticket. The reason was that the net had been closing for a long time, for something that happened 9 years ago. Her associates had been convicted, her son had been convicted, and now they were coming for her. She thought she might escape on that one-way ticket, but seconds before boarding that plane, they nabbed her for a horrifying crime.
So, yeah, that was them. That was old Grandma and Grandpa thinking they were going to live out their days in Vietnam, in the colourful, wonderful country known as Vietnam. And instead, she's now where she belongs. 10 years, guys. It took 10 years. Wendy Adelson seems to be a very prominent person in this case. She's the daughter of Donna, who's just been given life. What is amazing to me is that she's been testifying in the court, I think, for her mother and also for her brother, Charlie, who was put away a few years ago. But what amazes me is that even though she was testified, she had an agreement with the prosecutors that offered her the use and derivative use immunity. I mean, seriously, that means that anything that she said in court or evidence found as a result of what she said couldn't be used against her in any future proceedings. What? That's insane to me. Wendy has always denied having any involvement in the plot to kill her ex-husband. And I just can't understand how she's not been put on trial as well. How is she walking around scot-free when her mother has been charged, 2 contract killers have been charged, and her brother has been charged? Not only have they been charged, but they've been found guilty and they're locked away. So how is she exempt from that? It's insane to me, guys. Absolutely insane. I think I'm right in saying that Dan and Wendy met at university. He was actually Canadian born. And yeah, I think they met when they were studying and eventually married in 2006. I mean, when you look at that picture there, I think if you look at all those pictures, they just look like regular people, don't they? Actually, I've just remembered. They actually met at on a Jewish dating site. Yeah. So nothing out of the ordinary there. But I think what's quite interesting is that in the lead up to this, the divorce was very acrimonious. Very, very acrimonious. And I think because Wendy was so close to her family, who are very prominent people, apparently, in their area of South Beach, I think, they perhaps were a little entitled. And yeah, it's just incredible to me. Another fact, I do like to add a little bit of personal information. My son and his fiancée were in South Beach in the summer. They had a fabulous time. Went over there and yeah, loved it. But yeah, it's quite startling, really. I mean, when you're talking about crimes like I like to do, and I watch an awful lot of true crimes, it's I think what is so fascinating for me is that I like understanding or trying to understand different types of people. And, when you look at this family, look at this very powerful, successful family, it's actually hard to believe what they were prepared to do, especially what the mother was prepared to do. I think I'm right in saying that the couple moved to Tallahassee, which is about 500 miles north of Florida, which is where Wendy's parents lived. And of course, when the marriage broke down, I'm sure she wanted to be closer to her parents. That's understandable. What isn't understandable is that the parents or the mother would do something so unthinkable. It just beggars belief. So, in their acrimonious divorce settlement, they were both given shared custody of the 2 sons they shared. And from what I understand, Dan was, digging his heels in and saying, well, no, I'm not moving. I'm not moving from Tallahassee. And, I've been given half. I can see the boys just as much as you can. And I think I'm right in saying that there was a bit of sort of acrimony between Dan and the grandparents. Am I right in saying that he had actually said that he didn't want them in his son's life again. I think I'm right in saying that. Don't quote me, but I think I'm right in saying that. So anyway, Wendy is obviously, she's upset. She wants to go back down to her parents. I can fully understand that. She even went to court to try and, get the judge to make a different settlement. Perhaps, I don't know. I don't know what settlement she could have got, but, one that she thought was fairer. But the judge was like, nope, you're not taking those boys out of Tallahassee. So, yeah, red flags everywhere, guys. So what would you do in that situation? I'm sure none of you would do what this matriarch did for her daughter or for her grandsons. And the irony is, even after she was caught, she was stopped at the airport just before she got on the plane to Vietnam. Even then, did she not think to herself, well, if I'm going to move to Vietnam, how am I going to get to see my grandkids? Because she'd bought a one-way ticket, guys. So maybe she hadn't even thought about that. And also, the dad, Harvey Adelson, has he not been implicated? Has he been implicated somewhere? I really don't know. If any of you know anything about this story, let me know in the comments below, and we can have a bit of a chat about it. But yeah, it's very sad, because at the end of the day, this young guy, and he was only 41, was murdered, was executed in his garage, or just outside his garage on the driveway, by two men who had been hired by this matriarch and the matriarch's son, Charlie, who, again, he was very successful. They were a very successful family. And it just beggars belief that they would stoop that low. Surely there's something else they could have done. Surely. Anyway, I think I've covered just about everything. I hope you enjoyed this video. I don't go too deeply into the crimes because I want it to be more of a conversational thing. Let me know what you think. Do you think the same way I think? Or, do you think she got what she deserved? And remember, guys, it took 10 years for this woman to be taken to court, to be put on trial. So she had 10 years, 10 more years with her grandchildren. Did she deserve that? I don't think she did. Why did it take them 10 years? They got the contract killers, I think 2 years after the shooting. And then about 8 years after that, they arrested the son, Charlie, who was a prominent dentist in the area. And then a couple of years after that, they finally arrested Wendy. What took them so long? She's 75. So what do you think? Do you think there's going to be more arrested? I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I know that there were 2 sons, but one of them has nothing to do with the family. I wonder why. He moved away from the family a long, long time ago, which left just Wendy and Charlie, and apparently they were very close. So, yeah, there was obviously a lot of dodgy dealings going on in the family, because it was Charlie's acquaintances that, sorted out the business, so to speak. So, anyway, guys, you let me know. Have a think about it. Let me know what you think. Let me know, would you do this? I mean, I love my kids. My kids are my life, and the same with my grandchildren, but I really don't think I could hire people to, extinguish one of their exes. No, it's not worth it, But anyway, let me know what you think, and I hope you're all okay. I hope you're taking care of yourselves out there, because Trust me, it's a rotten old world. So until the next one, bye bye for now.